Welcome to the GTM Research Reserve, the best kept secret in Northeast Florida. The Guana, Tolomato, Matanzas National Estuarine Research Reserve, or GTM Research Reserve, covers almost 74,000 acres of coastal land from Ponte Vedra Beach to Palm Coast, and it's one of 29 National Estuarine Research Reserves that provides locally relevant research, education, and stewardship for their community. Your GTM Research Reserve is an ever-changing place with many interconnected habitats from the oceans to the forest. The landscape protects us from storm surges, cleanses pollutants, and provides both beauty and bounty for us to enjoy. To ensure we have this precious resource for years to come, the reserve needs the community support. The reserve needs more friends like you. The Friends of the GTM Reserve is a nonprofit group of private citizens who give their time and treasure to the reserve. The Friends are champions for the reserve and make it possible for you to enjoy free programs like family seining, guided cultural hikes, and beach walks and lectures from top experts. Friends ensure your children have the opportunity to participate in adventures in the estuary summer camp and field experiences at the reserve through their schools. Funding for the Friends support research and monitoring of our precious coastal ecosystems through our system-wide monitoring programs and collaborative research like our Living Shorelines projects. The Friends make it possible for you to celebrate your wedding day on the beautiful beaches or on site at our Environmental Education Center. And all of the proceeds go right back into the programs. You can adopt a sea turtle nest and support ongoing research of our treasured turtle population. Or you can volunteer at the reserve and become a citizen scientist. There are so many ways for you to be a part of the reserve. We need you. Your reserve needs you. I invite you to join us in September for our annual fundraising benefit, Oceanwise, an evening for the estuaries. Celebrate the estuary and all of its life while raising money to support the critical work being done at the reserve. This is your reserve. Become a friend and visit and learn more about your reserve working for you every day.
The education program here at the GTM Research Reserve focuses on or targets audiences that are K through grade essentially. So throughout the school year we focus on students, kindergarten through 12th graders. We provide what we call student field experiences versus field trips. The goal there is that students are actually coming on site, taking part in the research and stewardship efforts that are happening here at the GTM Research Reserve. Therefore, the experience is more meaningful to the students. And our goal is connecting the reserve to the community, because the reserve is the community's. In addition, throughout the school year and throughout the summer, we do provide programming for the general public, where we every Saturday will offer some form of family-guided exploration, whether that is a guided hike along our trails or our family seining program, where we get families dressed up in waders and they'll pull seine nets throughout the Guana River and Guana Lake. And then in addition to that, we do provide do lecture series. So we've partnered with Marineland Dolphin, the Marineland Lecture. They're in Marineland Dolphin Adventures. And then every quarter we offer our afternoon insight presentation here at the reserve. And we try to theme those for every month. So February is our Marine Mammal Month, April is our Bird Month, June are our pollinators, and August are our sea turtles. In addition to that, we do offer guided hikes throughout the fall and winter seasons in the Marineland area at either on Marineland Beach or the River to Sea Preserve or at the Matanzas Inlet. In addition, throughout the summer, we do host our Adventures in the Estuary Summer Camp, which is a really big summer camp where every week we focus on a different habitat within the estuary. So we have our oceans, our estuaries, and our forest communities. And the goal there is to really immerse students into the habitats that are here at the reserve, but also immerse them into, again, the research and conservation stewardship efforts that are happening here at the reserve. During our saltmarsh seining program, what the students do is they essentially mimic exactly what our researchers would do when they're out there sampling the nekton environment, or the nekton, which are in organisms that can swim against the current essentially. And so the process of that is the students have to identify all the organisms that they've caught in their net. They have to also not only identify them, but just like our researchers would do is with the fish, they have to measure the fish. With the crabs, they have to sex the crabs, whether they're male or female, and also measure them as well. And so, again, that is to help understand the biodiversity of this estuary, and that information is needed to understand what's going on.
So my program, the Aquatic Resource Management Program, is responsible for testing methods to restore habitats and shoreline stabilization methods. We use lots of different products, like the scabion here. We bag oyster shells, we use reef balls, we have modules. So our mission is to test products to help other practitioners install products that are going to work. So about 5 years ago, we started an oyster shell recycling program, and that's where we get all of our oyster shell. We go to restaurants weekly, and we have oyster roasts that we participate in annually. So in 5 years since we've had the program, we have collected over 265,000 pounds of oyster shell, and that's over 120 tons of shell that we kept out of landfills. And 76% of all the shells that we've recycled have gone back into the water as restoration projects.
So at the Research Reserve, we obviously have a core research program, and in that program we're in charge of baseline monitoring. Basically long-term monitoring of water quality and weather are two important parts, and with those we have instruments in the water collecting data every 15 minutes. And that data goes to a centralized data management office along with all the other reserves in the system so that we can make comparisons at a national scale about the water quality in our estuaries. So when visiting scientists come to the reserve, they need to know a little bit about the local area, so we help them figure out the tides. Oftentimes we take them out on the boat and help them get to their sites. And then we provide them with the long-term monitoring data so that they can put their project into bigger context. And then we also host meetings here too, and we have symposia where scientists can come share information and learn from each other. In terms of the biological habitats, we look a lot at oyster reefs, so we go out to the reefs and we put quadrats down and we collect all of the oysters within quadrats, and then we count them and measure each one so that we can understand how the population as a whole is doing. And then we also go to salt marshes and we count the grass and we measure the height of the vegetation and how dense it is, and that tells us the condition of the salt marsh. So those are our natural habitats, but we also look at restoration projects like living shorelines and take those same measurements on those shorelines and compare them to the natural habitats to see if the restoration is doing its job.
Come on out to the GTM Research Reserve. We have some wonderful recreational opportunities. We've got beautiful beaches where you can sunbathe, swim, surf, fly a kite, or just sit back and enjoy the beautiful breeze and sunshine. We've got 10 miles of hiking trails where you can hike, bike, ride a horse, picnic, enjoy nature watching and bird watching. You can see everything from eagles to warblers. And if you're really lucky, you might catch a bobcat or other secretive creature. We have boat ramps and fishing. From the boat ramps, you can launch canoes, kayaks, small boats. We have great fishing from shore, actually some of the best fishing in Northeast Florida.
The Coastal Training Program at the GTM Research Reserve provides training and technical assistance to a variety of audiences. We work with municipal officials, engineers, agency representatives, academics, and the general public to translate the most up-to-date scientific information to allow people to make better decisions regarding our coastal resources. The Coastal Training Program holds an annual State of the Reserve Symposium. The symposium consists of morning workshops geared towards the general public, as well as a technical symposium geared towards academic audiences. A poster session and reception follow the State of the Reserve Symposium. It's one of our most popular events of the year, and it's held every February. We also provide facilitation and working group collaboration services to a variety of stakeholders both within the GTM Research Reserve as well as external agencies. Currently, the Research Reserve Coastal Training Program is working with the GTM Oyster and Water Quality Task Force to bring together municipal officials, agencies, and commercial oystermen to talk about issues affecting water quality and oyster reef sustainability within the GTM Research Reserve.
The volunteer program at the GTM Research Reserve has approximately 250 volunteers currently, and they work over 11,000 hours annually. That's a lot of volunteer hours, and we're looking for more help. So if you're interested in assisting the GTM Research Reserve, come on down and I can help you.
You've just learned a lot about what we do here, and it's also important to know why we do this. Our research reserve is essentially everyone's research reserve. It is here for the community. It is a place where folks come together to conduct education, research, and stewardship to protect this fragile environment. We would not exist as a research reserve if it weren't for the great support of many educators, scientists, and local community officials that come here and citizens that come here to use the reserve. So thank you for your support, and I truly appreciate you watching this video and learning more about your research reserve.